Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. A couple of weeks ago I showed you how to make these little pen holders that you can attach to your notebook or to the inside of your bag, and it holds a couple of pens. What we're going to do today is make a zippered pouch that you can use either as a pencil case, your mobile phone, a calculator, a little bit of makeup, but it's also going to have a couple of slots where you can put a few pens and another little notebook. Come along and I'll show you how to make this notebook pen holder zippered pouch. All right, here are the materials that we need. I have a piece of elastic that is 22 centimeters or 9 inches in length. I'll cut that to size later. And this is about 2.5 centimeters wide or 1 inch. If you can get elastic that's a little bit wider, that would be ideal as well. I have a 20 centimeter or 8 inch zip. I'm just using a regular dress zip today. We have a couple of scraps of fabric and they're going to be the tabs for the end of the zip, so you only need the scraps to be as wide as the zipper tape and maybe about 5 inches in length. For the main fabric we want two pieces that are 13 by 22 centimeters or 5 by 9 inches, and we also need two pieces of lining of the same size. And on the main fabric we want that stabilized with some lightweight pellin. I'm using a fusible. It's very lightweight, very thin, just enough to give it a little bit of body. So we want that on the main pieces. Then we need another piece that is 13 by 26 centimeters or 5 by 10 inches. To the back of that I have some iron-on cotton interfacing. So this is just a regular dressmaker's interfacing, something a little bit lighter than the pellin that we used for the other fabric. And the last piece of fabric we need is 13 by 32 centimeters or 5 by 12.5 inches. On the other side of that I also have that cotton interfacing fused to the back of it. Now we can get started. So the first thing you want to do is fuse all your stabilizers to the back of your fabric. So if I just recap that, we want pellin on the two smaller pieces and then just an interfacing on the other two pieces. Once you've fused that to the wrong side of your fabric, we'll take the single medium piece of fabric and fold that in half, and we can just press that, and we'll take the contrast fabric, fold that in half as well, and you can press that. And these can go to the machine and be top stitched along that folded edge. What we'll also do is prepare the zip. So we can take our little scraps of fabric here and the zip, and on one end we're just going to cut this metal tab straight off the end of the zip. Once we've cut the end off, we're going to measure 19 centimeters or 7.5 inches. From this end here up to here is 19 centimeters, and what we need to do is bring the slider back and we'll cut the tape off at that mark we've made. From there we're going to take our little scraps of fabric with the fabric right side facing up, fold it in half and place it over the end there. This piece of fabric is way too long, but that's fine. It's just a scrap that we need to close up the tab. Pop a clip on the end there, and then we'll need to do the same thing on this side as well. You need to bring the tabs together, then pop your fabric over the top. And if you find it difficult to keep these tabs together, you can just run a bit of adhesive tape along there, secure it in place, and then put your tabs on. But since I'm going to use clips, it'll hold together fine. And we can take this to the machine. We're going to sew about 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters from the end, and we'll stitch that in place, and we'll do the same thing at this side, and we'll go and top stitch the two folded edges of these two pieces of fabric. I'll sew over the end of the zip first. And so as not to waste thread, I'll just come along and top stitch this straight away. And I'll grab the other one with the fold as well. And then I can reach to the back and grab that zipper tape that I've done on one end and grab the other one and finish that. And just try and keep the ends pinched together so that the teeth come together nicely. And that's all our prep work done. Okay, we've got our contrast and our front panel top stitched. Our zip's done. All you need to do is push out the fabric, press that down, and we've got some nice neat tabs on the end of our zip, and the zip is enclosed underneath. The raw edges don't matter because they'll be hidden away in the lining. These are way too big, but we will cut that down later on. We can take one of our main pieces and our contrast fabric and place the contrast fabric over the top of the main, line that up on the bottom edge here. I've marked a line straight down the center here. We're going to stitch from the bottom up to here, and we'll do a back stitch there. And that's going to create two little pockets. After we've done that, we'll take our other piece of folded fabric and we'll place that over the top as well. And that can be stitched in place around the sides and along the bottom. So first we'll go and do that. Once we've done that, then we can attach this. I forgot to hit record. What I've done is stitched the red contrast fabric onto the main fabric, and I've started at the bottom edge and sewn all the way to the top. And I didn't bother sewing the outside edges, so I've just gone from the center straight up. Then I've taken my other fold, placed that on top, and I've sewn straight along the bottom edge. The seam allowance at the moment is only about 1/4 inch. In the future it's going to be 1 centimetre, so we just want a small seam on the side. Turn your work around and come up along the two long sides to secure these flat pieces to the main fabric. Okay, what we've got here is a little pocket at the front. Then we have two pockets here as well, and our main fabric. Before we put the zip on, we're going to put the elastic on here. So I've cut this back to the same size as the fabric, and all I'm going to do is center that directly over the top, and I'll quickly go and sew that down on both ends. Okay, the elastic is in place. Now we can start putting the zip in place. What I've done here is found the center and marked that on my main fabric, also on the back piece of fabric and on the two lining pieces as well. So I've just found the center and placed a little mark there, and I've done the same with the zip, folded the zip in half, met the ends at the tab, and then made a mark in the center of the zip. So what we can do now, turn the zip so that the slider is faced down and line up the center markings, and you can pin or clip that right across. Take one of your lining pieces and place that directly over the top. So find the center mark, match that up with the center that you've marked already, clip all of that together. Then we can take this to the machine and sew with our zipper foot along the edge there. Once we've done that, open it out and you'll top stitch. So we'll do that first, then we'll come back and attach the other side. Okay, I have my lining fabric placed underneath. Because the lining has less stability in it, it's more likely to shift. So it's better that it stays underneath. I'll back stitch at the beginning and the end and move my zip out of the way as I come to it. Once that's done, open it out, press the lining away from the zip and bring it around to the back behind the main fabric. and then we can top stitch all those layers together. Now when I top stitch, I like to start where my zip starts, not at the end of the fabric, and I'll finish at the same point on the other side. Now I might mention, when you top stitch the lining and the front of the bag in place, where you have these extra pocket sections, there's going to be a lot of bulk in here because you've got folded fabric on the edge of both of those. It adds to the layers, and then that seam is also folded underneath, and everything is going in the one direction. So there's going to be a heck of a lot of thickness going down here. So if you want to, you can actually cut your pallin down a little bit shorter, just the width of the seam allowance, and have no pallin at the very top edge where your zip is. That just means instead of the pallin covering the entire piece of fabric, have it starting down a little bit further so that you don't have that excess bulk all the way along the top there. Otherwise you've just got to go slow, that's all. Okay, let's put the other side on. We take the other main fabric, and I've got my marking along there already. I'll place my zip over the top here, and I'll take the lining, and I can clip these edges together as well. So again, we'll have the lining side faced down, sew across there, open it out, and top stitch. The top stitching on this side will be much easier because you've only got the 2 layers of fabric, and we'll back stitch at the beginning and the end again. And the last time we'll top stitch those layers together. And once again, I'll start at the edge of the zipper tab. Okay, and we are now ready to close this up. And at this point, you can cut off the excess fabric on the ends of the zip. So we've got some nice neat tabs on the end there. Open the zip out, bring the main fabric together and the lining, separate those. And I like to push the tab toward the lining. It really doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. Line up those folds, and I'll clip that in place. There's a lot of bulk here because of those extra pockets that we've got. And the same at the other end. Secure the bottom edges as well. And we'll do the same with the lining, but with the lining we're going to leave an opening at the bottom edge. So leave an opening of about this much here, say 3 fingers, enough so that you can get the bulk of all your fabric turned through, and we'll also secure the ends. We can take this to the machine and sew all the way around. Because there's so much bulk in the zipper area, what I like to do is pop the fabric underneath the foot of my machine, and then I'll place the needle down with my hand wheel rather than starting to sew straight away, because as you sew straight away, your feed dogs and your foot are going in opposite directions and it can shift the fabric. So when you have a lot of bulk, I do like to just pop the needle in the down position, then it can start sewing and it's not going to shift. So I'll come around and keep on going all the way around. So I'm starting at the side that's got the most bulk, and I'm just placing my needle into the fabric here, and then as I start sewing forward and doing a back stitch, the fabric's not going to go any further than that. Because there's so much bulk in the fabric, I'm going forward to the corner, then I'll go back a few stitches and back to the corner again, turn my work around, and I'll repeat that here, then go to the other end and repeat the same. There's a lot of bulk at the end where the zipper tab is, so I go over that a couple of times. So I've stopped with the back stitch here, and then I'll move forward and I'll do another back stitch. And as I come back up to the beginning, I'll just do a back stitch here as well. And we're finished. Now that we've finished all of that, we can clip our corners and we can turn this the right way around. Poke your corners out so that the tabs sit nice and flat. When you turn this the right way around, you'll find in the bottom corner there's going to be a lot of excess bulk, which will make it difficult to turn the corners out nicely. So you can just go in to the corners and trim some of that pellin back on both sides there. So we've got so many layers of fabric here. I've just trimmed back some of the layers to help me make those corners sit a little bit better. And I've also done it at the end where the tabs are. So I've just come in a little bit on the angle, reduced the amount of bulk with the pellin, and that will make it sit a little bit better. And when you're happy enough with your corners, bring the elastic to the back of the pouch. So that will sit over your book. And we can go into the lining, fold those edges together, and we can sew that closed, which I will do now. Now that it's closed up on the inside, it's all ready to go. So we have a couple of little slots at the top here to put some pens. We've got a little pocket here to put maybe a small phone, and you've also got a larger pocket in here to pop your phone as well. This is just my old Samsung, but the one that I'm using at the moment, which is a lot larger than this, will also fit in here as well. And then we can just pop it in our book, and you have everything you need at hand. So we have our phone in there, some pens, and whatever else you might want to put in the front there, a little notepad perhaps. So there we have it, a little zippered pouch with enough room to hold your phone if you need to, or even a large calculator. And you've got your pocket in the front there for anything you can think of, and several pens in there as well. And with the elastic on the back there, you'll be able to fit that on lots of different sized books. So whether you're using something big like one of my favourite sewing books, or a smaller notebook like that, you can easily get this zippered pouch made to fit your little notebook. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.